Pulp Fiction is a dark comedy which, on the surface, seems like a bunch of pointless violent stories which intersect but don't have much to say. So what's so special about this film? In reality, the script is a complex story about morality, and the film itself is a purgatory where Tarantino punishes or rewards the characters based on the moral choices they make throughout the film. The religious themes are obvious.
You read the Bible, Greg.
Even downright on the nose at times, but not necessarily to talk about religion per se. It's more about criticizing modern society and its lack of morals and virtue, especially in 90s America. Tarantino has taken a group of criminals and placed them in extreme situations where they had the chance to redeem themselves and make up for their past mistakes. And that's what the story is about: redemption, and people's ability to own up to their wrongdoings and learn from the past. If they manage to do that, they are rewarded. If not, they get punished. Mia is married to a big, scary LA gangster named Marcellus Wallace, who tells his employee, Vincent Vega, to take her out as a friend while he's out of town. Mia, however, is a bit, shall we say, easy. They get to a weird, nostalgia-themed restaurant where things are awkward between them at first. But then they start talking about personal matters, like her husband's over-the-top jealousy, and they get more comfortable with each other. They enter a dance contest, flirt, and go back to her place, where the platonic dynamic disappears and it looks like Mia is ready to take him out of the friend zone. Okay, so a married woman takes another man home. A potential infidelity is on the horizon. Why should we care? Well, in the beginning of the film, when Vincent and Jules make small talk about what Marcellus did to the last guy who touched his wife's feet in a familiar way, we realize the risk Vincent is taking by flirting with Mia. Without that scene, we wouldn't know who her husband was, but because we found out that he threw that guy off a balcony for giving Mia a foot massage, we can only imagine what he'd do to Vincent if he tries anything. This is why the more Vincent flirts with Mia, the more anxious we get about what could happen to him. Vincent has second thoughts about this and doesn't want to go through with it, so he is forgiven for the moment. But Mia gets punished for her dirty thoughts instantly when she stumbles upon Vincent's magic bag of goodies, and we know how powerful that stuff is because of an earlier scene where Vincent is convinced to buy it. In the end, Mia is saved because she still deserves a second chance, and next time she'll hopefully know better. Verdict: punished, but forgiven. Bruce Willis's story begins with a flashback in which he gets his great-grandfather's watch and finds out what it means to his family. Butch is a boxer at the end of his career, and he's convinced by Marcellus, the same Marcellus whose wife was flirting with Vincent, to throw his upcoming boxing match. He accepts, takes the money, but then ends up screwing everyone over by betting on himself and winning the match with a killer knockout. So the character has already sinned twice. First, he accepted Marcellus's bribe, then screwed him over, planning to collect from his bookie and get out of the country as soon as possible. He gets his punishment the next day when he realizes that his wife has forgotten his precious watch home, and now he has to go back and get it. The problem being, of course, that Marcellus and his thugs may be waiting for him there with a surprise party. He could easily forget about the watch and be on his way. After all, a lot of money awaits him. He could easily afford the new Apple Watch Ultra, but he doesn't do that. He cares about his family's tradition and appreciates what the men in his family had to sacrifice to give him that watch. So he's willing to risk his life for it, too. Because he made his first good moral choice, Tarantino rewards Butch by letting him walk into his home the exact moment Vincent is in the bathroom without his gun. Instead of getting shot, he gets the drop on Vincent, because Vincent deserves his punishment, and we'll see later why. But then, as he's driving away, he runs into his dear friend Marcellus. They fight, end up in the weirdest pawn shop in the world. And again, his morality gets tested. After he gets away from those weirdos, he chooses to go back and save the man who wants him dead, even though it would be so much easier for him to walk away. And even though he takes way too much time choosing a weapon while Marcellus is getting all kinds of posterior love, in the end, he makes things right. So his redemption arc is complete. He makes two mistakes, but then makes up for them by making the right moral decisions later on. So he gets rewarded for it. Nobody will look for him anymore. He doesn't even have to run to a different country, so all is good. Verdict: punished and tested, but ultimately forgiven and rewarded for passing the tests.
I love you, Pumpkin.
I love you, honey bunny.
The film begins with these two moronic thieves who don't really want to kill or hurt anyone, in spite of wanting to commit armed robbery. Actually, this is what they're talking about. Finding the perfect robbery where nobody tries to be a hero, so that they don't have to ever pull the trigger. Tarantino punishes these two right away, and in the restaurant they've just decided to rob, they run into two professional gangsters who can kill both of them instantly. But because they aren't cold-blooded killers, their reward is that they catch Jules exactly in the day of his religious epiphany, where he decided to quit his life as a violent criminal. So he spares these two idiots and they get away with everyone's money. And judging by Tim Roth's acting while Jules is ranting about trying to be the shepherd, it seems like he gets his message and may try to change his ways too in the future. Verdict: loosely punished, then rewarded. And now, the most fascinating character in the film, Jules. Here, Tarantino doesn't shy away from adding a religious theme without an ounce of subtlety, because, lo and behold, Jules likes reciting the Bible before killing his victims in cold blood. But after miraculously surviving Jerry Seinfeld's bad shooting, he chooses to interpret this as a sign from God that he should retire from this gangster life. And right then and there, he runs into the two silly robbers from the restaurant. And like we said, he chooses to let them get away with it, because he has made a promise to himself that not only will he try to change his ways, but he'll try to change other people too. So Jules doesn't just choose his own redemption, but now he understands the passage from the Bible, realizes he has lived a life of denial and that he is, in fact, the evil man who brings terror to the world. So he decides to be the change himself.
I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd.
And we know he made the right choice, because later on we see what happens to Vincent in Butch's apartment. Verdict: Jules is forgiven for all sins because he has owned up to all of them and chosen full redemption. Vincent is the exact opposite of Jules. He's the typical American stereotype who has spent 2 years in Europe, and the only story he has is about McDonald's. He doesn't want change, and even when he's guilty of something, he is the one with the big mouth. He blackmails his friends when he needs their help. He never apologizes but expects everyone else to be polite to him. He picks on people for no reason, and he is insulted by Jules' ideas of change. In the end, he gets the most humiliating punishment, dies on the toilet. And it's not a coincidence that every time Vincent goes to the bathroom, something bad happens. First of all, he spends so much time on the throne because of his all-American diet. But it's also a metaphor for how carelessly he wanders through life without realizing how much his actions affect other people. In other words, Rome is burning while Nero is taking a dump. Verdict: 100% guilty, 100% punished and humiliated.
It's 30 minutes away. I'll be there in 10.
Verdict: badass.
Jimmy, right? This is your house?
When you watch a complex film like Pulp Fiction, even if you don't get all its extra details and subtleties at first, you still subconsciously realize you have just digested a great, fulfilling story. There are a few other Tarantino films which maybe get more praise than they deserve, but the praise Pulp Fiction has been getting for the last 30-odd years is well-deserved. Nothing in the script is random, although it may seem like it at first. Everything ties together. Every piece of dialogue matters. And by the end of the film, you have the satisfaction of having watched a complete story. See you next time, when we'll talk about another well-written, violent Bruce Willis movie. Until then, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Also hit the like button, share. Don't be lazy. Also, don't forget to check us out on all the other platforms, where we post daily film content in short form.